Speak to the whole Israelite community and say to them, 'You shall be holy, for I, your God Adonai, am holy.'" This is how this afternoon's Torah portion began. It's the holiness code, this selection from the book of Leviticus that contains some of the most poignant and important moral lessons and laws within our tradition. Each year, in addition to hearing these words chanted beautifully, we also get to hear a reflection on these words from members of our community. This year, teen leaders from Central reflected on the concept of holiness and how it guides their engagement with the world as young Jewish adults. It is my honor to introduce Max Shapiro and Sasha Levenson, who will share their stories and reflections and enrich our own understanding of these commandments.
Good afternoon. My name is Sasha Levenson. I'm named after my great-grandmother, Selma Rubin, a survivor of the Holocaust and a proud Central member. Last year at my bat mitzvah, I read from the Torah that was dedicated in her memory. As I chanted the same text as generations before me, I felt even more connected to her and my Jewish ancestors. As I look out over our community today, I feel that same sense of connection. On Yom Kippur afternoon, Jewish communities around the world read from the book of Leviticus. God spoke to Moses and said, "You shall be holy, for I, your God Adonai, am holy." God speaks to Moses often in the Torah and instructs him to speak unto the children of Israel. Here, however, God says, "Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel." Unlike many commandments, this one was given to the Israelites directly from God, rather than through Moses. Moses assembled the entire community to receive the mitzvot, which included instructions on how to observe Jewish holidays and treat one another with fairness and compassion. Jewish historians and scholars have interpreted this to mean that the work that we put into constructing a community is holy, because these mitzvot need to be practiced not only individually, but also as a community. In addition to Central, I am also a member of other communities. For instance, my school. After October 7th, my school, like many others, faced challenges maintaining a supportive academic environment for all and balancing conflicting viewpoints. For example, I had a teacher who chose to display a slogan that could be perceived as promoting anti-Semitism. I was uncomfortable with it being on their desk, so I spoke up and asked them about it, which led to them putting it away. By standing up for what we believed in, my peers and I not only had an impact on that one class, but also on how the school responded going forward. I noticed how my teachers and other members of the community worked very hard to make every member of our community feel seen and welcome. As a result of students like me, they now work with an organization called Facing History and Ourselves, where teachers learn appropriate ways to talk about world conflict in school, past and present. We have also had a Shabbat dinner, which had the largest turnout of any event of its kind. And last week, the lunch cafeteria had apples and honey, so all students could celebrate a sweet new year. This shows how even when your community goes through a rough patch, it is important to do the holy work of helping to shape a stronger community than before. Although things have been better since the first couple of months after October 7th, I know that we have to continue to strive towards maintaining an inclusive community. The legacy of my ancestors, including my great-grandparents and the Central community, Inspire me to strive for holiness every day. In this new year, my hope is that we all stand together as a Jewish community, united across generations, working towards a more compassionate and connected world. Shana Tova.
Good afternoon. Hope everyone's having a meaningful fast. On Yom Kippur, Jewish communities across the world recall God's instructions to Moses and all of Israel. Kedashim tihiyu, you shall be holy, for I, your Adonai, your God, am holy. Traditionally, our sages interpreted this verse to mean, you shall be separate, a distinct people distinguishable from other nations based on religious and ethical conduct. Our sages are quick to clarify, however, that separate does not mean withdrawn from the world, but rather the opposite. The Hatam Sofer taught that holiness means being mixed with all of God's creatures. Holiness is not confined by the walls of a synagogue. It's something concrete that can be encountered in everyday life. The mitzvot and the holiness codes articulate that we attain Kedusha when we are involved and invested in everyday affairs of life. When we pay attention to our behavior in every interaction, and when we actively create a compassionate household, economy, and agricultural system. Mitzvot such as revering our parents and showing deference to the elderly, leaving the corners of our fields to the poor, and not keeping a worker's wages overnight, display a deep concern for every person in our society. These mitzvot ask us to practice compassion and build bridges with people from many different walks of life. I have experienced Kedusha in my life many times. When I visited Israel after October 7th to pack supplies for the IDF, or when I picked fruit alongside the Bedouin community during Ramadan, and when I volunteered with elders in the Jewish community who made Aliyah from all over the world. Locally, I've experienced holiness when hosting intercultural events at my school, engaging in respectful dialogue with those I disagree with, participating in rallies, speaking out against harmful rhetoric at educational events, volunteering through Central with children seeking asylum, and distributing supplies to people who live in shelters. These moments remind me that holiness is not an abstract concept, but a lived experience that happens in relationship with others. These days, holy moments are increasingly scarce. Our world is divided, more divided than ever. Too often, there's no room for nuance and no space for dialogue. Communities fracture and hate becomes normalized. This is especially true when it comes to anti-Semitism in Israel. As Jews, we know what it means to be excluded, attacked, and held to a different standard. And we also know what it means to survive, push back, rebuild, and endure. We cannot control the hate in the world, but we can choose to combat it and add to the good. By taking care of one another and reaching out beyond our community. When hate and evil comes at us, we cannot be discouraged. When they go low, we must go high, or chai. Holiness means not giving up on the world and on one another. In this new year, may we strive to be a holy community, a community that stands together and builds bridges across divides. And may this be the year that all of the hostages are returned home. And I also want to say my thoughts and prayers, as should all of ours, go out to the Jewish community in Manchester in light of recent events. Gemar Chatima Tova. Thank you.
This is what leadership looks like. Max and Sasha, you aren't just the future of the Jewish people, you are our present, and we are just so grateful to both of you for your vision, your leadership, and the way that you bring Jewish values into this world. Thank you both so much. We're honored by you.